Welcome in, folks, to episode one of the Rec Room podcast put on by Rec Room Entertainment. And this show is looking a whole lot different than in previous times, where we've been coming to you live with Tread and Grain podcast and what was known prior to that as even Hedging the Bet, or as well a few other shows we've been able to do. But this one is unique, folks. It's episode one and there are a few rules that we need to go over. So, under the umbrella of Rec Room Podcast, it's all about short form content. And then from there, we want to have one conversation starter. And then we'll just have no guardrails, ripping on opinions, debates, short stories, concepts on real life. So, it's just literally all that is. It's a conversation between real people talking about real things and in that short form. Now that we've known a little bit about what Rec Room is, want to introduce and highlight our first guest. So Anthony Tomey is somebody who has made a difference to me even in just the short time that I've been able to know him. Somebody who I interned underneath Manuel and Mezcua is somebody who they work closely together and are tied together as being entrepreneurs in the city of Detroit and across the state of Michigan. And I thank you so much, Anthony, for not only being here with me, but also giving my friend Jet and I, shout out Jet Brocky, also in the podcast game, the platform for us to be a part of what you're doing at Born in Detroit during the NFL draft that really and truly captivated the city of Detroit for that short couple day span in April and then into May. So thank you, and so glad that we're able to connect and kind of talk over some things. But we'll go right into it without any hesitation. Is what I want to know, Anthony, because I see all of your social media stuff. I'm following along. I'm tuned in as much as one can be from afar. Is for all of the different endeavors that you do, and one could name them off really quickly with Jimmy John's, with 8 Mile Vodka, with Born in Detroit, and then off camera, you and I had a chance to speak on a few new ventures that are in the works. The key thing here that I've been enamored by is how you are willing and able to share and highlight that crossover between your family and your work life. So if you were willing and able to give everyone out there the three, top four, top five kind of keys that you think of when you consider balancing that, the work and the family, what would those be for you?
Yeah, Brian, thanks again for having me on, my man. Really appreciate it. I'm real proud of what you're doing, man. It's not easy to start from where you're at in college and expand like this, and what you're doing is great. And it's good for the school, for you, for the state of Michigan, and obviously you and I talked. You're from the West Coast, but you're at the little Midwest in you a little bit now. So real happy for you, man. Congrats on all this. Um, yeah, definitely, man. It's a delicate balance for sure. I mean, you have to have very, very, very understanding partner wife, right? For me, Rita just is very understanding of what I do and what I have to do. With over 60 businesses that I have at this point, including all the Jimmy Johns and all the real estate stuff I do, as well as the other businesses we have, the 8 Mile with Born in Detroit, now with the Game Above Sports, with our 3-on-3 basketball league and the ever expanding things we have going on with the sports teams we're going to own. It's a delicate balance. I've got three boys, Anthony, Nico, Luca, 7, 5, and 4, right? Tough part of life, right? Um, the best kids, but they're maniacs, right? They're starting to get into sport. They're 24 hours a day and energy all day, every day. Um, and I take pride in, I've worked very hard to get to the point I'm at in life, right? So I wanted to be able to do that. And I busted my ass to get where I'm at. And now I'm at a point where I can let people do things for me. So I
Mhm.
can coach. I coach all my kids and all their teams so far. It's going to be tough moving forward to coach all three of them at once. But, as Anthony, my oldest, plays flag football year round, he plays basketball year round. He's playing travel baseball at 7 years old, which is kind
Mhm.
of stupid on my end, but I love it. Um, it's one of those things where I make it a priority, right? I want to be there in their life. I need to be there in their life. They need me there to push them. I played the game. I played professionally, right? Like I know what it takes to get there. And not that anyone's going to go pro, right? Like 0.1% of people go pro. I'm not expecting that out of my kids. I hope that God it gets to that point. I want them to just be good athletes, good kids, and stay within sports, not for anything more than it's great. You become a great competitor. You stay in great shape. You're hanging around with like-minded kids, right? You're not hanging out with the video game kids, with the druggy kids, with the skateboard guys. They're going to be with all the athletes, right? And I love that. And I want them to be competitive. Like in today's market, if you gave me a choice between a person that played high school, college athletically, I'll take that person 100 out of 100 times over anyone else just because I know they're going to compete, right?
Mm,
That's what they do. It's how they operate. And that's a
sure.
big thing for me is that I want these guys to become disciplined, right? And understand this is a team. You have to work like this together. And that's huge for me. And that's what I really want to do. And, it definitely is huge because I am working a lot. I am putting a lot of hours in, a lot of phone. So having, Rita, my wife, being able to take the kids back and forth to school, to practice, to do it, be all involved, and be understand that there's going to be nights where I don't come home till 8 o'clock, right, or 10 o'clock, or I got to go do this and attend this meeting, and I sit on 5 boards. Like there's a lot of time where she does like, "What are you doing, man?" But at the end of the day, it's all for the family. It's all for the kids and for her, like to be able to do that. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And I think you highlighted a couple of interesting things within what you just said that I would love to hit on. And the first one of those is you talked about just briefly the amount of hours and
yeah.
the time spent away. Are there any policies or kind of rules, regulations that you've enacted within the family unit of like, okay, this is when I'm going to shut off. These are things that I are non-negotiables, have to be here for this.
No, not necessarily. Like I'm 24/7. My phone is always blowing up, and my wife gets that. I try not to answer the phone during dinner when we're out.
Sure.
Definitely not at church on Sundays, right? Like
That's
I'm out
right.
there. We go to church we don't miss ever on that. But she's very understanding of what I do and how I operate. And then obviously right now with all of my fantasy teams as well, Sunday or after church, man, I'm right at it. I got to find out who's inactive, who's making this.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
but that's also a full-time job for me as well. I'm a degenerate. I got five teams and 2 FanDuel leagues, a DraftKings. Just I'm an idiot. But you know, it, again, it's that balance, right? You got to be able to put the kids out there and play with them. Right when I get home, boom, right outside. We're playing sports outside, football, baseball, basketball, whatever we're doing. I make it a priority, and I do whatever I have to do during the day. And I'm blessed that Rita's able to not have to work and
Mm,
can take the kids to school, pick them up every single day, take them to the practice, and I'll go pick them up. I try to make every practice. I don't miss any games. I actually skipped out yesterday. I was offered on Friday to take a private jet to the Packers Lions game at Lambeau, and I said no because it was the first game of the session of 7-year-old flag football.
oh, man.
And I've been to Lambeau before. I've been on plenty of private jets, so it
Sure.
wasn't like the end of the world for me, but that's a pretty awesome opportunity, right? Just
Of course.
I don't ever say no to that. But this means a lot to him. And actually, it was an awesome game yesterday. We were down 12, 2 touchdowns. We came back. We won 21-14. And I love that, man. He scored a touchdown. He does his thing. He played really good defense. These kids love that, we're a good team and we're together. And it's awesome. At the end of the day, these guys are going to take me where I need to get to. I want them to all know that this is what it takes. You got to sacrifice things to make it in life, right? And that's kind of the whole moral of this, right? There's 7, right? If I
Yes.
miss a game, if they miss a game, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it does matter, right? We want to make sure and put a good example that this is what you need to do to be successful. You can't just say, well, he's 7, who cares? I'll skip practice, I'll skip a game. I'm not that dad, right?
Mm.
My wife's like, let's go on vacation. I'm like, we can't, we got games. It's like, who cares? I said, well, I care. And that's why I want to do it. And it sounds kind of dumb at the end of the day, but it's just that foundation I want to establish for these guys.
Sure, sure, sure. You know, I really enjoy the fact that you just brought up the concept of being sacrificial, even with such an example like that. I was watching that game yesterday, and
Yeah.
bringing that to my attention is like eye-popping. Did he really just say what I think he said? But
I swear.
on the contrary to that is, can you think of a moment that you've had where you're kind of saying the opposite of like, I missed the ball here. Like that's what I did, what something I said was not the point I was trying to get across that kind of worked against me. Are there any of those that you've experienced?
Yeah, it's happened plenty of times, right? Like you screw up a ton as a parent, right? I think the first couple years of your kid's life, your job is to make sure they stay alive, right? Like the things they do, how
Yeah.
many times they fall off their bike, they do stupid things. You tell them don't do this. You just got to keep them going, right? Like that's your job as a parent. You got 2 years, keep these kids alive, make sure they're good to go, right? Not literally alive, but you know what I'm saying. Like we don't need broken bones, we don't need this. They're jumping off things. So you make plenty of mistakes, and you got to learn from that as a parent. And when I had I had Anthony only, little Anthony, the oldest. I was able to do stuff like that. I mean, we went my buddies and I go every year, take a private jet. We go to a Lions game somewhere every single year.
Sure.
But and I've seen my friends, and I started late, right? Like I'm 43. My oldest is 7. I got my buddies that are same age as me. Their kids are in high school and college, right? So I
Mhm.
saw, and I didn't see those guys a lot for a long time. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with these guys? Let's go, let's do this. At the end of the day, like my sons all like die for me when I come to they want to impress me so much at these games. They want to like my approval, right?
Sure.
That means a lot more to me at the end of the day than it does to go to a game, to go to this and that. Like if it was a Super Bowl, I'd probably miss. I'd probably skip that game, right? But for the Lions at least, right? But it's one of those things you just have to be able to make the adjustments and make the right decision at some point, right? As much as you're in your low, young 20s here, like I was an animal. I was out every night doing this, doing that, no sleep, nothing is needed. Once you start getting older, man, you see what the priorities are. And as much as my business is the priority, my family is the number one priority, right? You got to you do what am I doing this for? I don't need any more money. I don't need this. I do it for them, right? For my family to set the example, to give them advantages that I didn't have, that my dad didn't have. And the biggest thing I learned from my dad never missed one game my entire life from 7 years old till I got to pro ball.
Wow.
Even in college, I'd pitch Friday night, right? I was a Friday night starter in college, and I didn't pitch the rest of the weekend, but he would be there. He'd be in Tennessee and Florida and Texas, flew to California, even in pro ball. Like he went to New York, he went to Erie, Pennsylvania. He was in Toledo every game, in Grand Rapids when I was playing for the Whitecaps. Like this guy just didn't miss games, even though I literally had no chance of pitching. It was just that's what he did, and he gave up all his vacation and all that to do that, and that stuck with me forever. This guy never missed one game. My dad, I don't, you never see my parents. My parents are the most unathletic, smallest people you've ever seen in your life. My mom's 5 foot tall. My dad's 5'6", buck 50 from Lebanon. Never played sports in their life, and I'm 6'4", 260 pounds. Right? Like it's a different. It doesn't make sense, right? But he figured it out. Like this is what he wanted to do, and he did everything for us, me, my brother, my sister. Um, and we want to follow that same path, and that's just the way it is. So you do what you learn, right? You either do what your parents did, or if they didn't do a great job with something, you do the opposite. Hopefully, and learn from that. So
That's right. That's
yeah,
right. Absolutely. I can resonate with that. The last question I have for you is hearing your story a little bit more and beginning to unpack kind of where you are in the trajectory. To me, I sit here and say, that's somebody who has it rolling right now, right? Business is booming. If you had to deduce it down, what keeps you going in this fight, in trying to carve more opportunities and grow more? What are those driving factors for you?
couple factors, man. Like definitely, like obviously your family. Like much as I'm a nice guy, you're here to make money, right? You're here to do things and keep going. And so that's a big driving force. Is you always want to keep going. As an athlete, like I don't stop here. I just keep going. You keep rising. You keep competing, right? It's almost a game for me. Like my goal is to get 100 Jimmy Johns. I know
Hmm.
that sounds like a dumb goal to some people. Like I got 50 stores right now. What do I want to double that for? Double the headache. It's just a goal I've always had, and I want to get there. I do it for my people, my employees. My guys are loyal. They've been with me for a long time. My number one guy has been with me 19 years, number two, 17 years, my number three, 16 years, like all the way down. Like I want to get them a chance to become executives, right? And keep moving up in life, and they stick with me, and I produce for them, right? And that's what I want to keep doing. And now I'm trying to involve these guys in all my different businesses.
Mm,
Just because they've been loyal to me, I want to be loyal to them. I want to provide them and their families, right? Make sure they're all driving better cars, have better houses, better opportunities that they never thought they would be able to get to. And that's a big driving force for me. And it just, again, overall, it's just, I love to say yes. I'm a yes guy. Like, yeah, let's do this, man. Like, once you get to a certain point, you're able to take some risk, right? We had to take some risk in the beginning with Jimmy John's. Like, who the hell knew what delivering a sandwich was 21 years ago? No one ever heard of it. It was only pizza, right?
yeah.
You take that chance and boom, going from one store in Novi, Michigan to 50 stores 20 years later. Like that's not an easy thing for a lot of people. You take a lot of risk and a lot of reward at the end of the day as well. So now it's kind of a proven commodity. You just kind of, it's going to make money for you. You keep going and then you take some other different risk, and every business you have is a risk, and you just got to be able to navigate. And thankfully, we've done a great job as a team with everyone else around me that we've able to secure a solid business and everything we've done.
Wow, man. Listen, thank you so much for your time today on the Rec Room episode 1. That's all I got for you. No context and complete shot in the dark, single conversation starter, and that's what can happen, folks. I
That's it.
hope that all of you out there took as much away from it as I did, and we'll definitely be continuing on with more episodes of the Rec Room. But Mr. Tomey, to you, thank you again for being willing to do it and speak wisdom and life into these concepts.
Anytime, Brad. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good luck. Keep kicking ass and do your thing, man. Big things coming for you.
My man, thank you so much. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
You too.